Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Bot Banters Niche Community Podcast, where we explore subcultures shaping the internet. I'm your host, Sly Absol, and today I'm joined with one of the awesome producers and editor behind the scenes, Aphonic, and also main co-host, BATpixi.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. And this is our inauguration podcast. And of course, according to market research, it will be the worst podcast we hopefully ever make in our lives. For this podcast, we needed somebody to come in and give us some sort of credibility on our journey in exploring subcultures on the internet. We couldn't think of anyone better than our friend of the podcast, CLW22. He's been a part of esports at the community level. He's been a part of the Pokémon community shiny hunting scene on Twitch. And he's built his own little community on Twitch as well for the last 3.5 years. So give us a round of applause for our guest for today, CLW22.
Thank you. Those are all things I've done. Yeah.
So full disclosure, CLW22 and I have actually been on an esports team together about 3.5 years ago. It was the B Game League, and our team name was the Stingers, part of the Stadia Stingers at the time.
It was the Stadia Stingers, and we were the best cloud-based esports team. In that we managed. Well, not full disclosure. You got to tell the story now. There were two Stadia teams as we were in this competition, the B Game League, which was Killer Queen Black, for those who know what that game used to be. Rest in peace to that game. But there were two Stadia teams, and we crushed the other ones. So we get to claim that we're the best cloud-based esports team.
I think it's a memorable moment for everyone that was in the Stadia community.
For sure. It should also be noted it should also be noted that was our only win of the entire thing.
So what ended up happening was we participated in the esports team at the community level, and after that we decided to retire and go and continue on as hosts, as commentators for the B Game League itself.
Wow.
Can you explain what motivated you, CLW, to stick with commentating at that time?
I just enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was like, I've always enjoyed like watching esports and stuff and regular sports, and I thought it was just probably the only chance I would ever get to do anything like that, and it was just very enjoyable to take part in the community in that way, especially since I didn't really want to like leave the B Game League community when we stopped playing, but I didn't want to play anymore just because I enjoyed Killer Queen Black. It was a lot of fun, but I was not very good at it, and I would feel bad having to handicap people by only being able to play Queen.
So the esports in general at the high level, it's generating about $1.8 billion according to Skynet market analysts. I'm kind of curious now that at the time we started off as players, we moved into hosting or commentating for the league. Do you want to go back and start developing any sort of community level sports teams or anything like that? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Not really. I don't think that I have the level of community reach that would be required to do that. And also, like, most of the games that I play, I don't really think suit like that, right? Like, I mostly play on stream, especially. Like, I play like Genshin Impact, and that's not really a game where you can be competitive, particularly.
Pretty much.
Pokemon, like, there is the whole Pokemon competitive scene, but like, so many other people are already doing that for Pokemon that it's not really something that either I feel like I would add value to or something that I really care to do, because I don't even really like enjoy competitive Pokemon, to be completely honest.
So
just not really a love there for me.
I think what I'm more curious about is like how you like got drawn into commentary in the first place, either like any commentary or esports commentary just in general.
Yeah, so that was actually someone's fault. BATpixi. We started doing the like Stadia Stingers thing as like a content thing, apparently. BATpixi and a few other people in the Stadia community were very like interested in making content around this esports league, as it was like something that was kind of new to Stadia. Killer Queen Black had just kind of come out, and they discovered the B Game League, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do this. We'll make a bunch of content." And then as we were making content, we kind of like started chatting with some of the people in the league, and they had asked like, "Hey, would you be interested in commentary?" And I was like, "You know what? Absolutely, I would love to do that, because like it is something that's fun to do. There's of a lot of ways to like express what is going on in a game, and it's always interesting to try and like best convey that to people so that they can understand, and I just enjoy trying to do that."
So if I recall, we actually participated in commentating for about 2 years before the league was actually shut down.
I don't know if it was that long. I feel like it was off and on for a bit. It was more like a year and a bit, I think. But still, it was like a lengthy thing. We did it over a couple of seasons.
And I recall that one of the reasons why it was shut down was because the company Killer Queen Black, they had some sort of server partnership with Amazon, and I suppose they just didn't want to renew their contract. Or
So what actually happened is that Amazon used to run a hosting service for games and stuff. A lot of like indie companies would use it because it was like a well-priced service. And then Amazon one day was like, "Yeah, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to completely shut this down." And like a lot of these companies didn't have an alternative, and the alternatives were too expensive to justify. And so Killer Queen Black had to shut down their online servers. And they still do sometimes have like not the full league experience, but because you can still do peer-to-peer play, they still do sometimes have Killer Queen Black tournaments and stuff. They still talk about it on the B Game League Discord occasionally.
I think that's one of the nicest things about not being so reliant on a large company and still being able to have your league offline. So after we actually did, or after you actually participated in the league, that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first time that you ever attempted joining the content community for streaming or YouTube or anything like that. Once the league ended, what motivated you to continue streaming?
It just seemed like something interesting to do. I played a lot of games anyways, and I figured, if I'm gonna play games anyways, I may as well stream just for fun, and still what I do, and it is still fun. It's always interesting having, the occasional viewer drop by and say something nonsensical, and it's always interesting to find out why they want to say those things. And
going closer towards like your career in content creating, I want to talk about shiny hunting, because that's like the main concept of your streams, at least how I remember them.
It was, yeah.
What
it
was
will be again too. Like
Probably,
there's gonna be new Pokemon games, and I'll be shiny hunting those.
What was your most memorable shiny hunting experience, you would say?
So there's a couple. The big ones would be like when I was doing the Dynamax Adventures. For those who don't know, Dynamax Adventure is a feature in Pokemon Sword and Shield where you can basically go through a series of battles that leads up to a battle with one of the legendaries from the past games, and that can be shiny. There's about 1 in 100 with the shiny charm odds. And so it ends up being quite long and quite difficult because a lot of the times, especially if you're playing solo, the AI is quite bad and will often get itself killed for literally no reason. And so a couple of those went quite long. Like I think the longest one I was shiny hunting Zapdos, and it ended up going to like over 190 DAs, which isn't even that much. People do these and it can take like 200, 300, whatever. Like it can go even longer potentially. It's just a random number generated seed. So but yeah, like the feeling of elation as I freed myself from the curse of having to shiny hunt Zapdos was pretty good.
For somebody that doesn't fully understand what shiny hunting is, could you just break that down for us?
Sure. So Pokemon have in the games a I think it depends on like what the mode or like what part of the game you're in, but like there will be like a small percentage of the time a Pokemon that is a slightly different color. Sometimes it's quite a significant difference. But it's fun in my opinion to try and gather these different color Pokemon because some of them look a lot better, I think, than um the regular ones. Or it's just like, it's hard to get, so you get to flex on people. um but yeah, so basically you just go through whatever method that you are trying to use. One common one is Dynamax Adventures for the legendaries. Another is like in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you can make sandwiches that will boost the shiny odds, and you just like go to specific places that will force like only that Pokemon to spawn, or that Pokemon and like maybe one or two others. And yeah, you basically just use those and you put in the time as you try and get your like 1 in 100, or depending on what the odds are. I mean, the base odds are like 1 in 4096, something like that.
Does shiny hunting only apply to like the video game, or does it apply to the other parts of the Pokemon universe? Is that in collectible cards? Is that in the anime?
So shiny hunting itself is only in the games, as those are the only ones where like you can really try and like force shinies. I don't want to speak for the anime as I don't really watch a lot of it. I know there have been some like variant Pokemon in the anime, and I think that there have been shinies from time to time. But definitely
Could they be
in the
like a blue
cards,
Pikachu?
no. So the shinies will have a specific color for their sprite. So for
Okay.
Pikachu, it's orange. A lot of the old ones, actually, fun fact, they basically just took the color like and then just like inverted it,
Oh, that's
and
that's
then
that's actually quite innovative
well, it
for the
results
old
in
At
ones.
some
that time, I guess.
very very unexciting shinies, let's say. Um, but yeah, so it's not something that is like forcible in the cards, but sometimes they will print cards that like feature shiny Pokemon. One that happened a long time ago, but is probably one of the more iconic ones, and definitely some of the more expensive cards, is they made something called Gold Star Pokemon, and so that those were all shiny on the card art, and then were quite hard to find in the packs at the time.
Oh wow. Just you wait. We are going to dive in deep on that Pokemon cards, especially what's happened around. But I actually just want to share something because we're talking about shiny hunting experience. There was a moment where you, me, and Oralith, another
Oh,
shiny hunting streamer, we were all in a call together, shiny hunting. I was mainly kind of watching you guys, but there was a time period where we were all shiny hunting. And I don't know, it was definitely a fun experience because he got away from distortions. If you guys don't know, distortions in the previous game was just a lot worse. Let's just keep it short and sweet on
definitely
that.
for Aura it was.
What were
Poor
your
Aura.
thoughts on that shiny hunting distortions? Because I heard his opinions.
I didn't distortion hunt because it was like it's too hard. It's not. I shouldn't say hard. It's too unrewarding.
I see.
What is
So
distortions?
for people, yeah, I was gonna say for people who don't know, distortions were a feature in Pokemon Legends Arceus, and basically how it worked is I want to say it was every 5 minutes there was a chance that a distortion could spawn. Um, so you had to wait for. I think he usually left it for 15 minutes because basically every 5 minutes it becomes more likely, up to 15 minutes where it hits the maximum. So he would wait 15 minutes and then go back and then go back and wait 15 minutes again. And then once the distortions spawned, he was specifically hunting the Pokemon that were exclusive to the distortions. Um, and so you would get 3 total spawns for every distortion. So you might wait up to like 45 minutes to an hour to get your first distortion to spawn, and then you'd see 3 spawns, and it's like not very efficient or very effective.
They were definitely not thinking of shiny hunting, the devs. They were just like, wow, look, a new gimmick in the game.
Definitely not for the distortions, but for the rest of the game, I think that like shiny hunting was definitely something that they were thinking of because
Oh,
like
yeah.
the function of the shiny sound and PLA, um, having Pokemon just be in the overworld and be shiny. I think that all of those things were very like positive for shiny hunting.
So I'm
But
wondering. Oh, yeah, go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say back to like the that was like the release of Scarlet and Violet, and me and Aura had come to an agreement that we were gonna have a race
Oh, yeah.
to see who could get Lechonk shiny first, because we were like, Lechonk is adorable. It's a fantastic Pokemon. And somehow somehow we managed to convince ourselves that it was a good idea to just like do nothing in the game, like before we left the first route, to try and spawn a shiny Lechonk and catch it. I won the race. It took like 8.5 hours.
Wow.
It was so brutal.
Eight and a
There,
half
there's
hours,
a
that's an endurance race. That's the competitive nature that CLW has built up from his esports days, coming into light in his streams.
I don't know about that, but it might not have been actually 8.5 hours. It might have been more like 7 hours, but it was long. We started as soon as I could start playing Scarlet and Violet, which was 9 p.m. PST on that day, and I want to say we went till like 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
It was an experience. The
So,
moment
how
that
do
I
you
found it, there's just this clip where I'm just like, yeah,
do you still have some of those moments captured anywhere that anyone could just go and watch that?
I have
Because I know
clips
that
of
was live
them.
on the stream. Did you save that anywhere?
I have clips, I think, still on Twitch.
On
Um,
Twitch?
yeah, one sec. I'll see if I can find.
Do you ever take some of your content from Twitch and save it in like long form content, like in YouTube or anywhere else?
Um, very rarely. Very rarely. I used
Talking
to
about
more
rare.
often. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, continue. I cut you off there.
I was gonna say that I used to post on YouTube a bit more often, but for some reason, I don't know. It just kind of stopped doing
So
it. I probably should. It is better to do it than not, but
I'm not certain if Sly has this footage,
Yeah.
but recently I've seen like a lot of stuff taking place at Costco.
Oh, yeah.
Um, where adults are literally fighting in the Costco aisles, like Gladiator 2 just came out, except they want to reenact it, collecting
yep.
Pokemon cards.
Hmm.
Can you explain to me what is it about? Actually, just to break it, why do adults collect Pokemon cards, and what was actually going on over here?
So I think a lot of why adults collect Pokemon cards when they're actually collecting is because it's like it's a nostalgia thing for some people. Also, like, people still really like Pokemon. Like, it's not something that really goes away, right? You're not one day like, yeah, I don't actually like Pokemon that much anymore. Like, maybe you like stop like following it closely for a while, but like you still have those like attachments to the Pokemon that you like played with in the games when you were a kid, or played with in the cards when you were a kid, and like that still does come back. And like then you're like, oh well, this is my favorite Pokemon, and I can buy a bunch of cards that like have really cool art or like feature the Pokemon in an interesting way. And so I think that's part of it for some people. For some others, that like similar to sports cards or even like cryptocurrencies, like there is a lot of speculative value in cards, like a lot. And if you catch the right timing, which it is right now, like you can pretty easily within like a year or less double, if not like even more, your money just by
Hold
buying and then
up,
reselling cards.
hold up. What do you mean by that? Like, how much money can you make right now 2025 just buying a pack of Pokemon cards and selling it? Like, what do you mean by that?
So, like, I'm more talking about like graded cards, right? So,
Okay.
or like singles. The market fluctuates; it goes up and down. So, if you find like a card that you think is undervalued, like it can, similar to cryptocurrency or stock, like it goes up over time as more people decide that they're interested in the card. And like the market can hit a bull run, and that's kind of what's happened right now. Um, the Costco thing is a bit different. Like when you're talking about graded cards, it's like, you know, maybe you see like there's a cool Charizard that's not really appreciated, so you start buying that, and then you go from there. But for the Costco stuff, that's a different experience entirely. I see we're watching the video.
Yeah.
Um, so this specific issue, the Costco issue, is to do with the investment people, but more than that, it's to do with scalping. So similar to how you would buy tickets and then resell them at it up, like upsell them for like double or whatever. That is the same thing that is happening here. They have realized that Costco sells these Pokemon cards. So this specific set that they're selling is called 151. This is a special collection that has currently only been at Costco, I believe. It's coming to like smaller stores. I want to say the 7th of February is the release date. But I feel so bad for the guy in this video who's trying to give samples and he's just getting crushed by these like psycho Pokemon scalpers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this set is called 151. It basically features the original Pokemon from 151 Pokemon from Red and Blue. And it was somewhat underbought at first and underprinted, and people would they weren't necessarily as excited. That's so funny that the Costco has all the
They learned the backup.
they're just like, yeah, we're not going to let you guys make a huge disaster. We're just going to preemptively put them in cards. That's so funny. But yeah, so like Costco, they sell these for what? I want to say in Canada they're like $75 at Costco. So 75 Canadian dollars. So they're probably close to like 55, 60, maybe even a bit less American. But they realize they can buy these for that price and then either take the packs and resell them or just resell the whole box for like 120, 150. So you buy these cards, you buy 10 boxes, and then you double your money. And it's easy. It's the same as like sneaker resellers, right? Like you set up a bot to buy some sneakers in the morning and you resell them for twice as much by noon.
Oh my goodness.
One thing I want to bring up was like back then when I was a kid, we would buy Pokemon cards, like even the newest packs, like they would always be available. Now like in the
Nothing.
Walmart, they would hide it.
Yep.
There's employees that would hide it inside specific spots so they can pick it up later. And it's so crazy now. It's like, do these people like even play the game? Probably not. They're just
Pokemon is not like the primary Pokemon buyer is not someone who plays the game.
That's true.
Pokemon is the one TCG where it will, like, even if the game stopped being played, the cards would still sell because everyone, or like the majority of people who buy it, are collectors. Like, they may as well be sports cards at this point. Like, it is that, yeah.
Makes sense.
I think they just celebrated 30 years. That's 30 years of collectible card games.
That was a few years ago. No, it was 25 years.
Oh, 25 years, 25 years.
I think. Because Pokemon came out in the mid-90s. Next year is actually the 30th for the games, I think. So
the
TCG would be the year after that for the 30th, I think. Or maybe it would be the same year. Depending on where we're talking about. Because obviously it released in Japan first. So
that's true.
But yeah, like you say like that there's like no cards anywhere. And like it is true now. but like for a solid like year and a half, you could find cards pretty much everywhere. And then for whatever reason, I mean, I think I know the reason. So when you start a new generation of Pokemon cards, or you release a new generation of Pokemon, they tend to feature like the new Pokemon, which are less popular for people because a lot of people have a very nostalgic view of like Pikachu, right?
Yeah.
Or Charizard, or yeah, like Gen 1, or even like Gen 2, 3. Like every generation has people who are like fans of it. But with the newest one, obviously it's going to mostly be like kids who are not able to buy their own cards and stuff who really latch on to these Pokemon. And so when you're releasing sets that are mostly featuring Pokemon that people aren't necessarily the biggest fan of, it's going to have less of a draw. They also printed, I want to say, I can't remember the exact statistic, but it was something like the last like 3 years, they've printed 18% of all Pokemon cards ever printed.
Wow.
So roughly 1 in 5 Pokemon cards that have been printed were printed in the last like 5 years or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they basically every year have been printing more and more. But they released 151, and then that was pretty popular. It was hard to get, but like you could still find it in stores for a long time, up until I want to say October. Costco's near me, at least, like regularly had 151 UPCs. A UPC is an ultra premium collection. It's like a more expensive box that has like some promos, a mat, and a bunch of packs. And like you could find those pretty readily available at Costco for a good price. You could still find packs in stores. And then in November or late October, they released Surging Sparks. And Surging Sparks was a set that was like the value in the set was built around a special art Pikachu. And that set sold out pretty much everywhere within 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Wait, what was so
And
special about this Pikachu?
it's just a Pikachu, and it was the first Pikachu to have like this kind of like special art rare thing, so that like people are like, oh my god, it's a Pikachu. It shot up to like $1,000 in like Canadian almost in the few weeks like it first released, and now I think it's down to like $600 Canadian. Still an expensive card for sure, but not quite the insane price that it hit at release. But yeah, so like this Pikachu and the hype behind it just caused the set to go crazy, and by like 2 weeks after, pretty much everywhere was out of packs at like retail. Places started selling packs for like $10 Canadian a pack, and packs are usually like $7. It was really rough, and then people started to look back and be like, wait, actually, I really like a lot of cards that have come out in these older sets. And then they just started to eat through that product, and then all of a sudden distributors are like, yeah, we have to stop. This might be a little inside information that who cares, I'm still gonna say it. But certain distributors may have said, we are going to temporarily stop taking orders for Pokemon so that we can figure out what exactly we have in stock, because we got hit so hard by people ordering.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
And I'm serious. That is 100% a thing that happened in Canada.
So do you think they were gonna like raise the prices or something?
Well, first of all, they do all the time. This is like
Okay.
not even insider information. This is known facts. The Pokemon Company essentially says, for the very first wave of product, you have to sell it at the price that we tell you to sell it at for the distributors. Once that first wave is sold through, they are like start raising prices. A lot of the time, the distributors will be selling packs for the same price as like a store is selling packs for.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's why it becomes really hard to get product for like small stores, and like um that's why you'll see a lot of like inflated pack prices for older product.
Those are a couple of points about the card game industry and the business that I would never have even thought about. This is a part of the culture I don't even think about. I see sometimes Pokemon cards in London Drugs or at my local grocer. I have no idea all of this is going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You should figure out what's expensive, because recently they released a new set called Prismatic Evolutions, and this is like the worst set release I think in ever in history for Pokemon. Maybe even for like other things too. Like they
What makes the
released
set so bad?
So first of all, the set itself features every evolution. If you know anything about Pokemon, you know that Eevee is one of the most popular Pokemon to ever be made. And all of its evolutions, the evolutions as they're called, are also unbelievably popular. I like if you ever look at like popularity polls for Pokemon, of the 1,000 Pokemon, it is almost always like evolutions in like the top 50. Um, at least for like, the main one, most popular ones like Umbreon, for example, who always is carrying card prices.
Jolteon.
Uh, well, more like Sylveon is usually the second most popular one, and then kind of goes from there to other ones. But it doesn't really matter what the order is for the other ones because they're all popular. Is basically the point. And so it featured that. It got a lot of hype out of the gate because people are like, "Oh my god, it's another evolution set." If we had one a few years ago called Evolving Skies, and the Umbreon from that set is like $1,500.
I have
Um,
that.
nice. The Moonbreon, yeah. Raw or like,
I think it's raw.
is it clean?
No, it's not clean. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I did
So
not know.
Rip, tragic.
Yeah, I know, but I love it. I love it. I keep it around.
Yeah. So basically, there are a lot of very popular Pokemon in the set. Um, it's doing something that other sets haven't done before. It's introducing something called like Pokeball reverse foils and Master Ball reverse foils. So it's got something going on that hasn't been going on in English, at least. It was in Japanese for 151 and for their equivalent set called Terrastal Festival. But in addition to all of this, it also is what's called a special set in English. So with a special set, the product lineup is very different from a normal set. Like a normal set will have booster boxes, sleeve packs, booster bundles, and then like it'll be in boxes and stuff, like collection boxes. For the special sets, you only can get elite trainer boxes. It'll have some kinds of collector boxes. Usually there will be a 3-pack blister with stickers. It's usually a sticker collection. And then a bunch of other miscellaneous products that like the per pack price isn't the best for. Like you can get a binder collection, and it'll come with a binder in 5 packs. But for the 5 packs, you're paying for the binder too. So now rather than paying like $7 or $8 a pack with a lot of products, you're paying like $10 a pack. So it drives the pack price up that way. It also was a little bit underprinted. So a lot of stores, both in Canada and the US, have been when you order through a distributor, they provide you an allocation. So when you do not receive what you have fully ordered, it is often referred to as being allocated. So pretty much every store was allocated around, at most, like a third of what they ordered.
okay.
So people like, I can say personally that I know that a store, perhaps the store that I work at, well, the store that I am often at, um, may or may not have ordered 3 cases of ETBs, 150 booster bundles, um, 36 sticker collections, 48 of the 2-pack Eevee collection, and we got 1 case of ETB. We're getting, when they come out, 7 booster bundles. We got 4 sticker collections, and I think we're getting 5 of the 2-pack things, and that's just like some of the things that we ordered. For the binder collection, we ordered 12 and we got 2. For the poster collection, we ordered a few cases and got like 3 of them. So like we got like a fraction of what we ordered, and that's like a common like thing that's been happening, and it's worse than other sets have been, because like you get allocated a lot in when you're buying Pokemon as a store. Like maybe you order like 12 boxes, 2 cases, you get 1 case. Like it happens, but it very rarely is it as severe as it was with this set. So there wasn't a lot going on. There was a lot of hype. Everyone knows that this is going on because everyone's talking about it on social media. People are mad that their pre-orders are getting canceled, whether because what ended up happening is in the lead up to this set being released, the prices of ETBs on the secondary market, or even on the primary market, went from being like a regular ETB for a set like this is like $70-$80. People were trying to sell them for like $150, so around twice as much as like the usual price. And so stores start, at least like the less reputable stores and people who care less about their customers, start canceling pre-orders for people and just reselling it at like $130, $150 and making a lot more money.
Makes more sense to them. Mom and pop stores.
So there was that issue, and then people who are scalpers are like, oh my god, like if I can get this at retail, I can resell it for twice as much. And so there's a video that I saw similar to the Costco video, but at Target in the States. They had like a quarter pallet displayer of prismatic evolutions, and it's just a video of a bunch of people rushing through the store, and they basically tear this displayer apart, and it's like, what is wrong with you guys? I get it. It's like, it's such an easy way to make money.
I just wouldn't ever do that.
No,
it's 100%. It's 100% profit. Effectively, if they're doubling,
you double your money, yes,
and you save time. So some people work a 9 to 5, and they would make the same amount as a guy or girl,
probably less,
or person that just goes, buys the thing, and then walks outside and sells it to somebody else.
You probably make more doing this than most people do in a day's work at a 9 to 5.
That's incredible. I'll be honest. When we started today's discussion, I thought this was going to focus a lot upon the esports community. I did not realize just how in depth the community for Pokemon cards really is.
Yeah.
Well,
that was incredible.
I think that to really understand what happens with regards to cards and like how crazy it is, you have to understand that it's not just Pokemon cards. It's like the sports cards community is insane. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but a few years ago there was a triple logo man. So for basketball, there is the logo. I don't remember who the logo is off the top of my head, but there's a logo man. Let me check. Let me Google this quickly. But basically, on the NBA logo, it's Jerry West. So the logo has like a blank of a picture of Jerry West when he was playing. And so there's a patch on everyone's jersey that has that. And so for the really, really high-end cards, they will take that logo and they'll put it in the card. So a few years ago, there was a LeBron James card that had his jersey from when he played for the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the LA Lakers. And it had each of the logo men from one jersey and from his seasons when he was there. And there was, so the boxes that it was in had, I want to say 12 cards. and they were selling for like 30,000 USD.
Oh
No
my
way.
goodness.
Yeah. And there was a bounty on the LeBron James triple logo man for like $2 million.
Huh.
Yeah. There are sports cards bounties. That's a major thing.
One Piece. Yeah.
People will, like, for the one of ones, because in sports cards there are variants of each card that will be numbered. The rarest is always a one of one. It's the only one you can get of that card in that variation, and like the logo men are all one of ones. So there was only one of the LeBron James triple logo men, for example. But yeah, so people will put a bounty on the card and be like, if you hit this card, I will give you $2 million. If you hit this card, I will give you $500,000. I want to say like one of the largest currently active bounties is for, I don't know if you guys know who Luka Doncic is, but he's a basketball player for the Dallas Mavericks. He's very, very good. His one of one from Prism when he was a rookie, I don't remember what year it was. It's not really important to the story, but I want to say it's still like 500,000 USD is the bounty for, yeah, pretty crazy.
That's insane. That's insane.
And you would say this surpasses anything Pokemon has ever done? You would say, like,
It's well, given that this is modern stuff, it definitely surpasses the value of modern Pokemon.
yeah.
The only thing I know about Pokemon cards is Logan Paul paying some ridiculous amount for a Pikachu.
Oh, so that specific card, no, he paid a lot for a card called Illustration Pikachu.
Oh.
Illustration
Illustration
Pikachu.
Pikachu, Illustrator Pikachu. Basically, it was an extremely rare promo card from Japan that was given out to people who won like an illustration contest or something like that.
1 of 7, right? Something like that.
So the one that he got was one of the few that have graded at a very high grade. And he traded one that was at a lower grade and a bunch of money for it.
And now he uses it whenever he wrestles.
He has like a necklace, right?
I had seen
He
him
has a
do that
pendant.
with the Charizard.
Yeah,
rather than
I've seen the Charizard one.
Well, he switched to Charizard now?
Pikachu, but he might have done both.
Crazy flex.
But yeah, sports cards are like insane. It's like,
It's a different world.
yeah, and it's not even like just sports cards though, right? Like, there's so many different like major card collecting things or card games going on right now. Like Magic
Marvel
the Gathering is still pretty big. Maybe less so the digital card games, but like Magic the Gathering is really big. Disney did Lorcana, and that has been pretty huge.
Tell me about that before we go further. Disney Lorcana.
Yeah,
I was at the store. I picked up this. So just for all of you, it's a board game, Marvel Villainous, and it came with a Lorcana card
yes.
in it. What is this Disney Lorcana? What am I saying it right? What is it?
It's so Lorcana is the Disney card game. Basically, Ravensburger, I believe they also make Villainous. I think they make all of the Disney board games, but Ravensburger received the licensing to make a Disney card game, and Lorcana is that card game. It's not as big as some of the other card games currently, but at the same time, it does have a very robust event scene, which is kind of lacking in certain other games at the moment. But
is it designed to be a card game as like Uno is a card game?
No, it's designed to be a card game in the way Magic the Gathering is a card game, because it plays very similarly to Magic the Gathering, except without.
I imagine.
Yeah, it's simpler. There's no like interaction on the other player's turn. Is basically
where would you put this? So we have Magic the Gathering OG. We got Pokemon card game, Yu-Gi-Oh card game. How does Lorcana fit into that picture?
I mean, it plays very similarly to Magic.
To Magic.
The Pokemon card game is truly terrible, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just not. There's not a lot to it, and the little that there isn't fun to me.
So slow. That's what I'm noticing. It's a slow game for me.
What I experience with Pokemon is that because there is no interaction with the other player really. Like you can knock off energies and stuff, and you can interact by attacking their Pokemon, but it feels like you're a lot more invested in just like setting up your thing to see if it's better than their thing. And so you basically spend turns like turboing through your deck, like let me search for this Pokemon, discard this card from my hand, play like used to be N, I don't, there's different ones now, but like shuffle my cards back into my deck, draw new cards, trying to find like specific Pokemon so you can start attacking and stuff. And it doesn't do it for me. Yu-Gi-Oh is also very bad.
Great
Yu-Gi-Oh!
anime.
Yu-Gi-Oh has an issue where it doesn't have a resource system, so you just kind of play cards.
I believe their resource system is in the heart of the cards.
As they say.
The more hearts you have, the better the card.
There used to be something of a resource system, because before all the like special summon nonsense, it was like I normal summon and then I have to sacrifice my monsters that I've already played. Those are my resources to play more monsters. Like maybe some cards will let me get other resources or like other monsters as resources by making like tokens or something. But it's still like is functionally using a resource to play cards. Modern Yu-Gi-Oh, because everything is special summons now, does not have that same constraint. So it's pretty much a one-turn game where you spend your turn setting up as many negates as possible to try and stop your opponent from doing things. And then either they have a hand trap for turn one interaction, and maybe they can stop you, or the game's over on turn one. So what's the point in playing?
I don't know.
It's a coin flip simulator.
So yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, for me personally,
mm-hmm.
Lorcana is a good card game. There's a Star Wars card game, Star Wars Unlimited, that is currently good. The One Piece card game is at least interesting, as well as the other Bandai card games. They're actually releasing a new card game. They're releasing a Gundam card game that I'm pretty excited for. I think that will be really cool. But for me personally, like, Magic is the best card game. Like, it offers the most as a card game.
Wow. As we're wrapping up slowly, I do want to mention if you would collaborate with any other streamer, creator, or like company, who would it be and why? You would say
anyone ever?
Yeah, it could be. You can put your mind to it. Personally, I would pick like Ludwig. But like,
if I'm picking a streamer, just like a streamer,
it could be a streamer, it could be a company.
Yeah, so if I was picking a streamer, it would definitely be Ludwig, because
let's go Ludwig gang.
I used to watch a lot of Ludwig when he was a smaller streamer, and it was fun. I enjoyed watching him, and at a time where you could still interact with him somewhat. Very quickly he became way too big for that. Which I called, by the way. There was at one point Ludwig raided out to someone. And I'm like, yeah, Ludwig is going to be a bigger streamer than Mango, which, for people who don't know, Mango is like arguably the GOAT of Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Yeah.
He isn't the GOAT. Armada is better, but
that's a different can of worms. But yeah.
What was it like at that period of time when you were in a smaller community with Ludwig? What was that like? Do you prefer small communities like that, or?
Yeah, of course. Like, watching a larger streamer is more like watching a TV show. Because like you can like throw things into the chat, but like it's like you're just shouting into the void, right? Like pretty much nothing you say is ever going to get read once someone reaches a certain size. Like I would say up to like even 1,000 viewers, you can still be heard, because not as frequently, but like usually only a percentage of the chat is active at any given time. So maybe like there's 100 people messaging at any given time, and like at least in that, people might like still read your messages. But once you get up to like 10,000, it's pretty much all you're doing in chat is just being like, oh, everyone else is saying KEKW, and like Yeah, there's not a lot of interaction at that point.
Yeah.
You miss that community, where you know the person and you
Yeah,
know
I
exactly
mean,
what's going to
you
happen.
still
They're now
you
just
still
a
don't
member
you still
showing up.
don't know that person, but
Mhm.
at least like they will like respond to the messages that you put. So if
Mhm.
you are being a little bit rude to someone, they will probably at least actually read it.
That makes sense.
I once told Ludwig that he was bad at Pokemon.
And did he react to that?
Um, so this was specifically in the lead up to there was a roast. I think it was the roast of Bobby Scar. I want to say that was the one. Maybe it was one that Ludwig was doing, and Ludwig was like, "Oh, it was definitely Scar." Ludwig was like, "Oh, what are they going to make fun of me for?" And I'm like, "Maybe for your Pokemon skills because he is ass." But
True.
and
So you
yeah,
were preparing
he
him.
saw that
You were
one.
helping him prepare for what was going to happen.
Exactly. I was just looking out for him.
That's awesome.
Uh, one thing I want to say: if this podcast is ever published, good. I'm happy. This is the good ending. You've seen the podcast. Mark my words. We're going to do this podcast until we reach Ludwig. We get him as the host. That is
And
our
then we bring CLW 22 back.
yes. And then CLW is
Oh,
like, you
just
suck
just
at
so I can
Pokemon.
tell him to his face. Yeah.
And he'll watch the first episode, sure, hopefully. But no
Yeah,
seriousness.
we're gonna randomly pop up on Ludwig's feed.
That'll be awesome. We'll put a bunch of hashtags just to get him to click on the video.
I remember one thing from Ludwig's early community was how much trouble he was having with like what his fans were calling themselves.
What were they calling?
Oh
Okay,
no.
hold up.
No.
What was Ludwig's fans
I think
calling
I
themselves in the early days?
Well, I mean, his last name ends with like wig, like
you can put your imagination to it. You could say
yeah, like it. I mean, so here's the thing: when you say it with Ludwig, it is not a slur, but everyone will know on some level that it is referencing a slur, and so I understand why he had a huge issue with it. I just found it funny because he was like, "Oh, the Ludbuds or whatever," and everyone, like the fans, were just like, "No, we're gonna call ourselves the worst thing imaginable." I mean, not literally, but
yeah,
it's
it's
pretty bad.
That's what internet communities do,
No,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The internet is full of the
Expected.
worst people you can imagine, just like collectively.
Oh gosh.
And like when you put that together in a large Twitch chat, you're gonna get some nonsense.
So I know we ran over a little bit longer than we were anticipating for the podcast. Before we head out of here, I just wanted to get a quick overview of Still W, Sly Absol, Yellow and Red. Why is Wolverine and Deadpool your favorite movie that came out last year? And why are you guys cosplaying today on this first podcast?
No, you're the one who messed up. You're wrong. See, you're supposed to be wearing blue. Because
I'm cosplaying as the TLC guy.
no, you're supposed to be wearing blue. Because then we would have Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic, and we would actually be the best movie that I've seen in the last year.
I will say the camera doesn't capture it, but this is a navy blue suit.
Is it actually?
Is that cap?
It's a legitimate
So funny.
navy blue suit.
You tried, guys.
You guys
I
know-
promise.
It actually got my name in it. I can't open it.
No, I'm gonna be Knuckles. But so anyway,
He actually wants to be Shadow, though. Do you guys
Yeah.
know Snapcube?
yes,
Do you know
yes, I
Snapcube?
do. I do. I do.
Yeah, so you're the Hot Topic wannabe, and
Oh.
BATpixi's the
Oh yeah.
blue bubblegum son of a bitch.
I don't know what it is, but I just
Oh my
feel-
God.
I just got insulted.
Basically, I think it was like Shadow getting roasted and then Sonic getting roasted, and that's what the terminology they used.
Yeah, so specifically the reference, if anyone doesn't know. So Snapcube is a person or a group?
The group.
That I'm unclear exactly what Snapcube specifically refers to, but it is usually in relation to Sonic, specifically a series of fan dubs that were made. And in their fan dub for Sonic Adventure 2, there is a scene. It is at the start of the level where you run through a jungle to escape an exploding island, and Eggman, in this genius moment, is talking to Shadow and Sonic, and what's wrong with my camera? I don't know. There we go.
There you go.
So he's talking to Shadow and Sonic, and he says something along the lines of, "You Hot Topic wannabe, and you blue bubblegum or blue gumball son of a bitch. You've ruined my life, or you've done nothing but ruin my life. I hope you die." And it is so funny. The whole fan dubs, they're fantastic.
Really
they're like, they're some of the best like Sonic adjacent content. I saw someone say on Twitter that they've low-key ruined Sonic, which
not really.
It's not exactly wrong, but at the same time, it's definitely worth it because it's so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My favorite moment was "Piss on the Moon" from Dr. Eggman.
I
piss on the moon, you idiot!
Yeah, when he's like, "I've come to make an announcement. Shadow the Hedgehog is a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my wife."
Yeah. If you guys don't know,
that one's really good.
We'll link it definitely, because that's definitely a good watch.
Yeah, that one's really iconic. There's the "You fools! I have 70 alternate accounts," and that's really good.
Twitter.
I did not know that you did voices. Where was this?
I usually don't.
Where was this?
Voice actor.
But there's that one that's really good. There's when Eggman is with Tails on the boat, and he's just like, "I miss my wife, Tails. I miss her a lot. Bye," and just leaves.
Yeah, it was definitely really nice to have you on, CLW.
Yeah, it was fun.
Where can people find you online, you would say?
Well, probably the usual place you're going to find me, if ever, is on Twitch. I am CLW22. So that's probably the best place. I technically have a Twitter account. I guess it's X now. I don't necessarily know that you should follow me on X because I don't post there, and also I don't know if you guys know much about Elon Musk, but he certainly has done some things recently.
Yeah.
We'll have to save that for the next one.
Definitely a lot.
If you guys ever want to actually do a politics podcast, I'll join you, but it's going to be spicy.
It would be.
But perhaps clw22.bluesky.social is another option. Not that I've ever posted there. I also don't really post on Twitter, so.
Well, whenever you do,
Twitch is definitely the best place.
I think also for folks at home watching this in the future, once we have our schedule set up in future episodes, we will share that at this point in time. But if you are or have discovered this episode, in the future, when you're watching this, we will have a Blue Sky account as well. Hopefully. What do you think, Slyful?
We'll see. We'll try our best, definitely.
And what about yourself?
If you ever want to have links posted on Reddit now, you got to be on Blue Sky. I don't know if you guys have heard about that at all, but a lot of subreddits have been banning X links.
And what about yourself, Sly? Where can folks find you?
So you can find me on Twitch, Sly_Apso. I also post on TikTok, and I do tweets very, very rarely, but you can also find me on there. I also want to give a quick shout out to our editor and also producer, podcast coach, Aphonic. They're working in the backgrounds, and they've made all the beautiful art that you see. Stay tuned. There'll be a lot more to show. And how about you, BATpixi? Where can they find you, you would say?
They can always find me once a week on Bot Banters Niche Community Podcast. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bot Banters out.